Wells Fargo doesn't care. They're not going to give me a bigger checking account just because I like the deal. The math tells a story, and you just make all your decisions based on that.
You are printing cash in your real estate business like so many agents are because you're helping so many families. And now you need something to do with it. And your investment philosophy kind of comes into the ethos and begins to change. How do you start to think about the world?
So after 2008, right, I went back and looked back, like, why did my investments not perform, right? I've got this real estate business that works, makes lots of cash. I've got an unfair advantage to buy real estate because I can see it. I know what I could buy it for, I know I can sell it for, I know the in between. Why did I get smashed last time? And it's because I had zero model, right? I'm out there running around and I was just a gambler, right? And I think a lot of people today are gamblers. So I looked back and I went, what are the investments that I had that were smart? And you looked at, there's certain investments, I'm like, this thing would have worked. Like if you bought it in 2005, it went up, or you bought it in 2003 or 4, it went up, it went down, and today it's back up here. Like it would work great. But there was a number of things that didn't. So I went and said, what is my investment model? What's my thesis around wealth building? What's my wealth plan? And a lot of those questions led me to a place, I didn't have one. Right? I thought I wanted to be worth a fortune, and I had a $5 wealth plan, right? That's kind of was my current model. So I started studying, what do the really wealthy do? Well, they have a box that investments fit. They don't look for everything. Right? They look for specific investments.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are a fan of this show, then you know this is a model moment. This is when we all get out our pens and our papers and we take notes. Brett, it sounds like the first step in this model is have a model and a wealth plan. Now fill in the blank. How do I think about it?
Yeah, so you should be your model should be knowing, where am I? Model starts with where am I? That's your balance sheet. That's your net worth. That's something you're doing every single month. Secondly, Jason, all of us have some ambition to be somewhere in the future. I would pick a time it's 30 years out. I'd go 30 years out, and I would pick the biggest number I could possibly think of without focusing on how you're going to get there or how many people or assets, just what's a big number. So for the sake you and I talking here, you go, cool, I'm really nowhere financially. That was me, right? I want to be worth $50 million plus 30 years from now. Cool, drop $50 million 30 years from now. And then you run a simple question. What if I bought one house per year for the next 30 years? What does that equal? And you're like, oh, well, that equals, $19,400,000. Okay, so if I did 3 of them a year, well, I'd be at 63 million. Oh, cool. So that could be my model. So now I've got the only question I need to solve for after this is done. This plan's literally could be done that quick. Where do I get the money to get the 3 homes a year? Right? But we're in the greatest industry ever. If you start, most people don't even know, okay, if I'm going to buy them, they're $200,000. I need 20% down, so I need 40 grand a house, 3 houses. I need an extra $120,000. There's probably not a single person watching this that couldn't sit down, plug into our world, and get really smart around, how do I get that extra 120? Like everyone could do it. And then over the 30 years, they become one of the wealthiest people they know.
I'm blown away by the elegance and simplicity, which are 2 words I've never used to describe you.
Thank you.
And mainly because when you say pick a number 50 million, and then you'll do the math and you'll figure 3 or 4 houses a year. Like the part of my brain that governs my critical thinking, which always sounds critical, wants me to make this so much more complicated. And like, I keep hearing you say, stop it. Stop it. It's just not that complicated. I don't remember. It was 4 or 5 months ago. I called you and I was making myself crazy on a deal. And I kept going back and forth. And you said, man, you're putting a lot of emotion into this. And emotion kills logic. And I said, yeah, that's fair. But I think my aha at that moment was like, I had forgotten to use the model. The model makes it so I don't have to agonize about the terms. I don't have to like kill myself on should I or shouldn't I. It makes it a little bit easier to have some fluidity in my life and not make myself sick every day.
Well, so once you get your model right, you reduce it down to math. And what math does is it eliminates all the emotion. Right? I always see someone, I'll ask them like, oh, you got 20 rentals. What's your favorite one? They're like, oh, it's this one. Then I'll have them do this exercise where we put all the data in a spreadsheet and we rank it based on actually which one is the best on data. It's never that one, right? Something else. Yeah. Well, I know. So emotionally, this is one. No, it's not. The math actually says this one that you didn't like is by far your best performing asset. And just, I had to do it because like you, me, I'm an emotional guy, right? So I go out and I'm in real estate agent, we're deal people. I'm going to do this deal. And you start selling yourself on the 900 reasons why the deal makes sense. Oh, it's by a school. It's got, the park across the street's got flowers in it. What does that have to do with math, right? Like I can't go to Wells Fargo and say, have you seen the park across the street from this thing? It's unreal. Well, Wells Fargo doesn't care. They're not going to give me a bigger checking account just because I like the deal. The math tells a story. And you just make all your decisions based on math.
What if I'm saying, okay, how do I lead generate for investment real estate deals? So you don't have to give me the whole model, but give me enough to get me going.
So the first thing is, number one, I will tell you that every agent that's watching this, I don't care how big your business is, has 2 to 4 investments per year in their world that they're not looking at. They're not looking at because they got the realtor hat on. So first thing, Jason, we got to take the realtor hat off and we got to put on the investment hat. And so when you're looking at everything, the first question you should ask is not, how do I list this home? How do I buy it? How do I own this house? Secondly, the iBuyers, what did they do well? Now, they're all getting smashed today, but what did every consumer want? Every consumer wants a cash offer for their home, right? At the end of the day, like, hey, if you'll give me my timeline and the money I need, I'll sell it to you. You just say, hey, we got a couple options for you. One of them is, Jason, I'll just buy your home for cash. Now, if you want to get to the next level of it, like what we do, we actually go pull data, we figure out our ideal investment, and we're actually mailing directly to those people saying, we would like to buy your home for cash. The exact model, go back to where we were, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, this zip code, certain rent, we know all the variables. We want to buy those homes. We actually mail them. It's a postcard, picture of the home, right? Google image goes to the street, takes a street view. People believe that we actually like go to each of their houses and take a picture. It's hilarious. But image on there, it says, we want to buy this home. Call. You get calls, we go out, same deal. By the way, 9 out of 10 of them, we can't. But you know what those leads are perfect for? The team. So those leads route of the team, we go list all those and the game goes on.
There's a group of agents that are watching this out in TV land that are kind of where you were probably in 07 or 08, which is they're getting out of the business next month. It's just because math. Like, what do you say to those people?
I would say, how bad do you want it, right? Number one, how bad do you want it, right? And so what else are you going to do, right? I think so many people, Jason, they're going to go from industry to industry, realizing that a lot of the things that they needed to do are going to show up like work. And whether you're an agent and you're selling insurance, you're working like it's all work, right? So you're in the greatest industry ever. If you haven't had the results you wanted, so change, right? Are you learning? I would love to know. What are you reading right now? Who are you studying? When was the last time you were in a room with people that are playing at 3x your level? Probably not. Okay, cool. So go fix that, right? I would go invest everything into my own time. I would also play with, like, what's your education to entertainment ratio, right? If you're thinking about getting out of the business, how many hours a week are you watching Netflix and how many hours a week are you reading books and getting educated? And if it's 5 hours to Netflix to 1 book, maybe we change that. Maybe we go 5 hours reading books and maybe cancel Netflix. But when I see people that aren't getting the results they want, usually their education entertainment ratio is all messed up and they're just not focusing on their own, because the skill they have, right, Jason, the tool you and I have is this, right? It's us. So spending time, energy, and resources, and by the way, that's not all money. Most of it's just time. You can get the greatest listing presentation, investment, like it's free today.
You partnered with Gary Keller earlier this year to launch KW Wealth. Mm-hmm. I guess number one, why did you want to partner with Gary? And number two, what is KW Wealth and where can people find out more information about it?
So it was actually, we were at a Keller Williams event. We're sitting there. I can't help but look at our audience, right? I go to the wealth building and I speak on the wealth building stages and I look at that. It's packed, right? It was me, Jay, Wendy. We're the last event at Family, and the whole room, you couldn't even get into it, right? And you're thinking, this is when people are going to the bar, they're going home, right? They're going to go to the room. Couldn't have been more full, right? And people want it, they crave it. It's just not being taught well everywhere, right? And in depth. I think it's all taught surface high level. And so I went to Gary with the plan and said, hey, I think that we can teach this in a way that will help our agents and give them a completely unfair advantage. I think agents aren't as wealthy as they should be, and it's just because they don't know. And I think we can make a massive difference. And I sent him a plan and a proposal, and it took about 4 seconds. He said, 1,000% I want to do this. Go to mykwwealth.com. Check it out. We've got an option for there's a community piece, there's a mastermind piece, there's something for your market center. But our goal is really, really simple. We want our agents to have an unfair advantage and to build massive, massive wealth.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brett Tanner, another entrepreneurial story and another Keller Williams legend. Brett, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you.